Did you have any trouble getting into Zoom?
Hello? No,
Hi,
I didn't.
all right, I'm gonna have to do this meeting from my phone because I can't get Zoom to load on my computer and I don't know what's going on with it.
Oh, okay. I didn't have any problem, but I'm on my tablet, not my phone.
Yeah, it might be my internet, but I don't know. It says I have good signal strength, but it would not load on my computer. So um I'll have it on my phone and it should be fine that way.
Okay, well, if any problems come up, just let me know. Our pre-meeting probably won't take um, the full hour.
Okay. It might just be high traffic time too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just won't be able to pull up anything on the screen or anything like that.
Okay, I don't think we need anything to be pulled up tonight that I'm aware of. But and
Okay.
the mayor, did she let you know she's not going to be able to be on tonight?
Oh, no, she didn't.
Yeah, she sent me an email. She's out of town and she won't be able to get back until 9 o'clock tonight. So
Okay.
she will be absent tonight. So,
Got it.
okay. Well, I'll come on when people start coming on. Almost
Okay.
6.
Sounds good.
Mhm.
Excuse me. Hi, Lady Andrea.
Yes, I'm on.
Hi, I was wondering if I could maybe have a few moments of your time. I don't have a way to contact you, but I was hoping maybe if Joaquin sent you an email with my contact
Okay.
info, possibly.
Yes, send me your phone number and I'll call you right after
That
the
would be
meeting.
wonderful. Thank you.
Is that good? Okay. All right.
Great. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Anytime.
I appreciate you.
Hi, Andrea.
Hello there. How are you? How are
Good.
all of you doing?
Hola.
We're glad to have our Commissioner Gatz with us tonight.
Hi, Gordon.
Hi, Lindsay. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there.
That's all we can do.
That's
Absolutely.
a good thing.
Hi, Sister
Well,
Pat.
Hey, here we are.
Yay.
Here we are. Well, we have 1 minute before we start our meeting, so we're waiting for a couple more people to come on, but we
Okay.
will start at 6.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi, I'm here. I'm just fighting with my technology.
Okay.
Hi, Ashley.
Well, I think all of us have had that issue one time or another.
Yeah.
All right, it is 6 o'clock and we're going to call the meeting to order. And this is a study session and we're going to be making some changes in how we have been doing our meeting. And one of the things is we've been voting in the pre-meeting, so we will not be doing that. We will be doing the meeting voting in the regular meeting. So the pre-meeting minutes and the minutes will both be voted on at that same time in the regular meetings. So I will guide you as we go, and we just are making some changes so we can stay in line with what the attorney, city attorney is giving me some updates and information. So anything that we're doing that we shouldn't be doing, we need to correct. So that's one of the things that we're going to correct. We'll do roll call in the beginning, but no other voting will we do. So I'm gonna ask Lindsay if she would open up with the roll call.
Okay.
Mary Heath, let me say, Mary Heath is an excused absence. She has a business meeting she's on at the very same time that we're going to be, she's going to be in a separate meeting. So she won't be in with us tonight.
Okay. Thank you for reminding me. Commissioner Andrea Benard.
Present.
Commissioner Ramos.
You're muted.
Present. Sorry, I thought I was unmuted.
Commissioner Lindsay Patton is present. Commissioner Frank.
Present.
Commissioner Boone.
Present.
Commissioner Barron. Okay, Commissioner Carter.
I think he's running a little bit late, but he's going to be on.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Harvett. Present.
Thank you for the roll call. At this time, I said we will be approving the minutes. If you got your minutes, look them over. We will be voting on that in the next session and the regular meeting. Okay. So old business, the town hall meeting is the first one that we have that we're going to have in discussion. And I have an update for you. We were able to, Sister Pat and I, Commissioner Harvett and I both were contacting the same people, and we both have been able to secure the director of the community mental health, and she will be hosting our our town hall meeting on March the 18th. That's from 6 to 8. We might not take 2 hours, but she has planned. She's given me an outline, and I'll go over that with you. If you have any questions or you want to make any changes, this is a draft of what she sent me. We're going to have the opening, and I will be doing the opening, just starting the session, unless someone else wants to do that part. Welcome. She's going to do a welcome and introduction of her staff and what areas they are going to be dealing with. She has a list of areas that we're going to be discussing, and that's behavior science services, overview of their department, the services that they provide, the pathways of how they are doing it and what's available, and also community work. She's going to be doing that, and trauma and other things. If there are any questions that you would like me to submit to her, or Commissioner Harvet, if we have any questions, I want you to send them to me and her, because we both will be lining up and getting together to make sure that the questions are what they can answer ahead of time. So if you have any concerns or questions, please let me know. And after we do the overview of each of those areas that she's going to be presenting, then we will go into community public comments. And I'm going to ask Commissioner Harvet if she would talk a little bit about anything that is brought up, some of the questions that may not have been brought up before we go into public comments. If you would bring some of those questions forward, and then we'll go into public comments, okay?
Okay.
And that will be the Q&A section. And then after the Q&A section, then we'll have comments from the HRC commissioners. All right. Any questions and anything that we'd like to change? Anyone would like to participate in opening and closing? I probably will have the mayor to finalize words and comments, and then we will close it out. It may get finished early because her outline and time, she has till 6:45, which is not even an hour. So I don't anticipate that we would have too much more than an hour and a half, maybe. Okay. If we do have more, we have until 8 o'clock. We scheduled it till 8. Any questions that anyone has or any concerns?
This is Michelle. Can I ask a couple quick questions?
Yes.
So is this going to be, this is a town hall, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want this on Zoom? Is that the plan?
Yes.
Okay.
On Zoom, since we weren't, things haven't changed very much. So by the 18th of March, I'm sure we will not be able to assemble.
So
we
when
will
I
be having a
noticed
Zoom
this, okay. And then
Mhm.
when I noticed this for the public, so this is a town hall to discuss mental health, is that?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
Community Mental Health Department is going to be in charge of it, this town hall. They will be our keynote speakers.
But we're hosting the meeting, correct?
We're hosting
Mhm.
the meeting, and
Okay.
they are just our keynote speakers.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Anyone else have any concerns or questions? Any particular questions that you would like to ask her, and then she can prepare, her and her staff can prepare ahead of time?
This is Commissioner Harvard. I think I sent you about a month ago some of the questions the sisters
Yes,
had.
you did. Yes,
So
you
you should
did.
have those. Yeah,
Can you resend them to me? Because I had a lot of
I
traffic.
will. I'll see, see if I can
Just
find it.
forward it back to me,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
we will talk about those this week. Or you had any one particular one that they
Oh, God.
highlighted more than others? Since I don't have it
Yeah.
in front of me.
Yeah, I don't either. I have to go look.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we can just wait. we can wait. Okay. We'll talk about it. Does anyone else have any comments or questions about what we're trying to put forth? Okay. If we're hearing none, we'll go on with our meeting. And so that will be on the 18th of March from 6 to 8 p.m. And it's the town hall meeting for community mental health. Okay. Our speaker is the director, and she's also going to MC her section of it. She's thinking about putting a video together so that we will be able to show that, hopefully. Michelle, we'll get back with you. She just sent me a draft, and so as soon as we get it finalized, her video, we'll have to get with you so that you can put it up. All right?
Okay, and I do have one suggestion. Instead of making the time from 6 to 8 p.m., maybe just a start time of 6 p.m. Because if it were to end early and then you were to have citizens try to get into the meeting to make public comment and there's no one there, I could see that being an issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So whatever you suggest, if we say starting at 6 p.m. and we won't put the 8 on there. So when you publicize it, even though I've been telling people that, but if we don't go that far, I was wondering how we would handle that. So thank you so much for giving us that. So we'll just put the 6 p.m. and when we finish, it will be okay. All right. Any other concerns and questions about the town hall meeting? Okay. All right. So our next comment area that we're going to be discussing tonight is a special speaker for the pre-meeting that the mayor, friend from Chicago, is going to be coming and doing a presentation. She's hoping that for the month of March meeting that we will actually have them on board. She's going to be working with them and seeing if that's a possibility. Did you all have any other subjects that we would like to do for the month of March?
I had. I don't know if my thing's working.
Who's speaking? Commissioner Frank, is that you? Okay.
Is it working?
Yes, it's working. I couldn't hear you at first.
I just had some things that like I thought since we aren't having regular events and stuff like that to organize, if like maybe March going into the spring, we can start looking over our what is this little paper thing that we have? Our goals and objectives and mission
Our
statement
goals and
kind of
objectives.
stuff. Like the actual article where the Human Relation Commission's like our general duties and stuff. There are some just like some grammatical changes and maybe a more inclusive language suggestions that I have. And I've had them since like September, but now seems like a good time to make those changes since we're not really actively doing events right now. So
Okay.
I don't know,
So
maybe if
how
we
the-
could just look those over, like put a
Okay.
pin in it and say like, we'll talk about it next meeting kind of a thing.
Well, why don't we see if there's someone else that would like to work with you? Maybe one other person can work with you and put a draft together, and then we'll have a working draft that we can work on at the next meeting. I will talk to the mayor because most of that was done through the mayor, and they actually guided us and they had a subcommittee to actually be in charge of putting most of it together and then bringing it to the commission, and we finalizing it and going over and making suggestions. So I think that works out a lot better than having all of us to try to do it during our meeting time or even the pre-meeting, because it's going to take a little bit more time to address some of that. So if you would be willing to head that up, and if we have one other person that would be willing to work with you, I'd appreciate it. If not, it will be you and I. Is there someone else that would like to work with, and that's on the mission statement, that's on the, what other areas did you say?
Well, there's only one spot in the mission statement, and it's just small stuff like changing equal to, or equality to like equity, to be more inclusive and more specific, like stuff like that.
Mhm.
Just
Okay.
little things that need, like there are a couple
So
places where,
just in the mission statement, or was it another area you mentioned?
I think this one is actually in the charter where there's no, like there's a couple places where sexual orientation and gender expression were kind of left out.
Okay.
And I
Okay,
think
when
those
it
should be-
comes to the charter, we can't change anything in the charter. That has to be the city commissioners.
well,
That is something
whatever this is that Devin Bice
That's-
wrote,
who
because
wrote it?
Devin Bice.
That's our
Okay,
ordinances.
that was, yeah, that was something that was assigned to the commission, and that's something that you can review.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember because I
And-
helped Devin formulate, like
Okay.
format it.
Well, we appreciate that. If you want to work with that, and no one else has stepped up, so that means that you and I will work on it together, and we'll set aside a time that the two of us can get together on Zoom, or we can just do it over the phone, whichever way is easiest for both of us.
That'll
So I'll call you, and we'll work that out. Okay? Is that all
Alright.
right with everyone else? If she and I work on that mission statement and see if we can clarify and even get the final draft, because do you have the final draft, or is that a partial?
Yeah,
Is
I think this is just what
that
I printed off
dated?
the website.
Well, if it is Devin Bice's name on there, then that means that that's not the final draft, because we didn't put any commissioner's name on. So we will get all the information together and we'll work on it, and then we can do a presentation at the next meeting.
Sounds good.
Is everyone in agreement with that? If you have any questions or concerns, say so at this time. If not, hearing none, then we'll go forward. So the meeting with the mayor and the pastors, we're waiting on the mayor to finalize that. She was trying to do it next week. Hopefully it will be next week. If not, it'll be the first part of April. So as soon as she can get a date solidified for that pastors meeting, then I will notify all of you. You can be on the Zoom call with us when we get it together. And also send me the names of ministers and pastors that you would like to participate in that. We had about 10 or 11 that participated in the last one. Some weren't able to be there. So if you have some other pastors in the community that are interested, or even you talk to, please let me know, okay? And send it to the mayor, because she's the one that's going to finalize everything. All right. Okay, HRC reports on your concerns and information that you have for the areas that we were working with. We were working with the police department. We were working with law enforcement, I should say. It wasn't just the police, but law enforcement. We were working with mental health, which is something that's coming up with this town hall meeting. We also working on the homeless and also the shelters. And we asked Lindsay, Commissioner Patton, and also Commissioner Frank, if they would check on the areas of the homeless shelters in our community, including the one in Tecumseh, the men's shelter, and also the shelter on Maumee Street. So if you all have something that you'd like to share with us at this time, or some things that we can do to assist them, and that was some of the things that we were looking to do, try to put together something that would be helpful to the shelters.
Lindsay, did you have something? If not, I can talk again.
Well, you start and then
Okay.
she'll come in.
I mainly was just gathering their immediate needs lists or their supply lists that they run out of regularly, that kind of thing. And I was talking with Michelle, and I was supposed to call Michelle, but then I got sidetracked today. So
Okay.
we'll talk about that again when we get that more finalized, about putting like the resources on the city website. So like when people are asking where, like what shelters there are, what do they need,
Resources.
what are their
Mhm.
contact, because a lot of them have specific drop-off protocols now and that kind of thing. So you should call first. So we're looking to put that on one of the city pages somewhere, just so it's more centralized, I guess.
Mhm.
And I
Can you give
contacted,
me an idea? Give us an idea of some of the items that they were looking for.
it was mostly like paper towels, coffee, laundry pods, trash bags, things that are like high turnover items.
Mhm.
And when I talked with Leak, she pointed out that a lot of people don't realize that they're a shelter as well. Like they also provide vouchers and little move-in packages when people move into one of their shelters. Like they have their little laundry soap and toilet paper and that kind of stuff. So they accept donation items too, and they sent me a list. Each of them have like different high rollover because they operate differently, but I have all of those.
Okay. So if you put that together and send that out to me, and then we can get with the mayor and make sure that all those things that we're going to put on the website with Michelle, that it's what we need to be doing. Okay,
Yeah.
how we need to do it. Basically, we can volunteer to do anything that we would like to at this point, and everything is needed, food included.
Yep.
So,
And that was more of the like, if someone wanted to volunteer, like we could just direct them to, oh, that's on the city page here if you wanted to get in
right,
contact. So
Mhm.
right.
that was the thought.
Okay, Commissioner Patton, did you have any more to share?
No, I'll also talk with Commissioner Frank. I'll get with you, Ashley.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we were talking about how many people were in the shelter. I think someone came on last time and told us that they could only house 20 in the shelter on Maumee. I don't know how many are in the domestic violence shelter or the shelter in Tecumseh. So maybe if we find out the numbers, that may be a help for us to be able to know how many people need items. And you say LEAC is giving out um, items as well. So I wasn't aware that they were actually doing it in the community, or they just doing when people come to them. I know they do a lot in this community, but I wasn't sure that they were giving out packets of foods or items that they are needed. So are they looking for money more than anything, or they want us to touch base with them so that we know exactly what items are legal for them to give out, or how are they exactly wanting us to do that?
Let me pull that up real quick. She sent me like an actual list. Here we go. Housing and Help of Runaway Wish List. And it's like a PDF that they send out and hand out.
Okay.
So like it's a full page of items like paper towels, bleach, Lysol, shampoo, conditioner, Walmart gift cards, linens, blankets. I think
Okay, can you
it's,
send us a list of that to all
yeah,
of the commissioners, or send it to me and I can forward it to everyone, and they
yep,
can take a look and they can ask people, because I did have a chance to talk to both of the shelters wasn't able to get some items to them that they needed because the snow came and I didn't have anyone to take it to them.
Right.
So we're still working on those because those are items that they actually, paper products for feeding people and, silverware and different things that we could actually donate to them or get for them so they don't have to go out and buy it too.
Yep. And I
So
think there were food items and stuff. You had said that you could get food items.
I actually did, and I was able, they didn't need anything at the shelter on Maumee, but the food bank on Tecumseh, he took all the food that we had. And I have some more for him. I have lots of turkeys. if you know people that want turkeys, I'm keeping those right now, and I can let them go. They can have another home. So we can actually do that. But we have partnered in terms of keeping up with them. That's the partner I'm talking about, that we're partnering with them. So when I get food or they have a need, I go and I will get that for them as much as I can. So we're working with both areas, but the shelter on Maumee, they were full at the time that I called them. So in terms of the food and the meats that I had coming, because I had whole chickens that just came over the weekend and they are all gone like that. Shoot. So we'll be glad to give up and get more for people. So we will definitely look out for them. And then there's things that we can purchase individually, the churches or different ones. We're going to be talking to the pastors and see what they're doing and what they can do as well to help during this time. Because when you look at the news and you see what's happening in a lot of other cities, they're not as blessed as we are to have as many people working together to try to make sure that we deal with some of the needs of the community. All right, any other comments on this area, the shelters? Anything else that anyone else would like to report on their areas?
Yes, I did talk to Bert Castleberry in regard to the mental health issues here in the city. And he was quite informative, and certainly supports our town hall happening. His insights, he said, I deal with the mental health issue every day in the court system. He said, because I see the people that, are faced with the issue. And his opinion is that federally, we have failed to get any help. But, and he said, one of the things we need to do is to get our state reps and senators to really do something and to try to get grants for solving mental health issues here. The COVID virus certainly has made people, he said, even more so paranoid and schizophrenic. And so he said, those are people also that I'll see in the court. Now, he said, we do have in Lenawee County an enhanced treatment here. And he said, what that entails is that the person needs to follow the doctor's orders, they need to take their meds, and they need to be in therapy. So he said that is provided in Lenawee County. Now, he said, not everybody is able to do that either. They don't have a support system in their life to help them to do that, But he said those that might, or those who are, somewhat on the edge with being mentally ill, can be helped in that regard, he said. And isolation certainly doesn't help right now, he said. Let's see. He did talk about ProMedica in the new hospital, and he wasn't aware that there are 2 psychiatrists that they hired. So he said that is a help somewhat, but that was one of the questions, in fact, the sisters raised. How is that publicized? How does
Yes.
I wouldn't have known that we had 2 psychiatrists there unless I was
Yes.
on that Zoom call a month ago.
Right.
And so
Right.
unless it's publicized and put out there, people don't know, and that's important. And then his last piece, which I thought was interesting, is he said, I see the police dealing with mental health every day. And he said, they sit with the mentally ill patient in the hospital. So who's doing the police work? Because they're sitting with the patient. You know, it's problematic, he said. So he said, I don't have a lot of solutions, except we do need to, you know, press our state rep and senator. And he said, you know, this is nationwide. This is not just
Right.
here.
Right. It
Because
is.
all the mental health institutes were closed, you know, a few years ago by so many of the
Couple
states. So
decades now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but he was most interesting, very supportive of our work. You know, and he said, I have an interest in it. I don't have preparation. He said, of course, but he said, I have an interest in it because I see these cases every day coming before me.
So it might be good for him to give you a list of questions for our director that
Mm-hmm.
she may be able to get information that will help him even in dealing with them. And it's nothing you can do about the police other
No.
than having family or support from someone else to be sitting with them and trying to help them. So it's something that our police chief did talk to us at the last meeting and saying that they were dealing with it. The officers are handling it pretty good, according to his reports that he gave. That they've been quite aware of it and they're taking their time dealing with people.
Mm-hmm.
Not so in other communities because you see too
Mm-hmm.
many things happening and you see a lot of even young people are having challenges. Yes, so I'm hearing quite a bit of that. So we're
Mm-hmm.
still having those issues that we have to deal with, and if we can find some solutions or even a way of dealing with individuals is going to be uh, very important for us in this community. How do we reach out? How do we talk to them? How do we, you know, because sometimes making a lot of noise and hollering at them is not going to change their behavior or their attitudes. So it's just learning what can be done and what resources are available. And most of what I'm hearing is not too much. So we're going to learn. So I think this was a good time for us to be having the town hall meeting. So what I want all of us to do is to make sure that we publicize it by mouth or by with our friends. You can go on Facebook and share that we're having the town hall meeting. Um, and Michelle is going to put it on the city website. So we will have an opportunity to pull in some resources and also people to talk. I've been talking to some social workers to make sure that they're on. They may be able to share some of, not about cases, but share some of the things, techniques and tools that we could use to be helpful to our community. Because that's really one of the major things that we have that is it's not going to go away. It's not going to go away at all. All right. Any other comments or questions or concerns? Remember, questions, if you want to send them to me and to Sister Harvat, Commissioner Harvat, and get those questions to us soon because the 18th is going to be before us in a short time. Okay. All right. So do we have any other concerns and comments um, in terms of our reporting?
I did
If we
finish
don't have,
going over
yes,
those case reports. I think there's like 48 of them that Michelle had
okay.
sent over from the chief. I did finish going through those. I didn't know if you wanted me to go over it now or in the main meeting. I feel like I'm like talking all of the
Why
time.
don't you give us a few of them and then we can do some more in the regular meeting. and we can have discussion, because this is our discussion time anyway. And you
Right.
can do the presentation of what you would like to have us to think about. We really need to think about the next meeting that we're going to have with the law enforcement. We need to set up a date to do a town hall. Remember, we talked about that.
Mhm.
And maybe what we need to do is lean into maybe May and give it opportunity to start working on that and pulling in our resources and giving a time for people to hear about it and they can be a part of it. Okay? Because we really do need the community to come on and be on the Zoom meeting, and maybe by May we may be able to meet in person. We're not sure, but at least we can target towards that. Okay?
Right.
Is everybody in agreement with that? Okay. All right. So give us a few of the things. We have time.
I'll just give a quick rundown of how I organize these, and then I can talk about the individual ones.
Okay.
So, I received 48 of them, and I organized them, like I read through each one and organized it into like the different categories of reported violence, retail fraud, suspicious persons, and welfare checks. I kind of lumped those all together.
Okay.
And then I had a folder for positive interactions, like things that I think should be recognized of, like, this is how this should be handled. And then I have
Okay.
reports that inspired questions. So the biggest folder I have, majority of them were suspicious persons or welfare checks, which is just people in the community calling the police because they saw somebody. So that was the majority of them. And most of them turned out to be nothing. So I think that's
But at
probably,
least the community's discussing things with the police. That's a good thing. Mhm.
that's a way to put it. And then I think there was only 3 that were reported violence. And that was just like within the community itself. It was never anyone being attacked on the trail or felt endangered on the trail or in a park or anything like that. There were only 3 instances of violence, and that was either domestic or within the community itself, like between friends, or not friends, people that live in the same space, I suppose. And then
People
that was,
that know each other. Mhm.
yes, there we go. Not domestic, but familiar.
Mhm.
And then that was the smallest folder. And then retail fraud is probably the next, which was only 4. And it was usually like needed items, deodorant, food, toiletries. Like that's what was, it wasn't, they were stealing electronics. They were just stealing things that they needed to literally survive. So there was only 4 instances of that. And then I have a folder specifically for the camping ban ordinance, and there were 7 in that folder. I gave it its own folder specifically because those didn't really start being reported until August, which was before the ordinance was even passed. So we're going to
Yeah.
discuss that separately.
Okay. Okay. Well, which one do you want to talk about now? We have a few more minutes.
I don't know. I think I'd probably save the camping ordinance for later in the main meeting
Okay.
because I want to be able to give that more attention and I want more feedback from everyone else.
Okay.
So I want to
All
make sure
right.
that has time. So we can talk
So
about
what about the retail? Which one?
the positive interactions. That can be a real quick. I had some ideas
Okay.
about maybe recognizing when, because the officers are the in-between guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
They're the first responders.
right, and they don't really, there were no interactions with this population that weren't instigated by someone just like passing by. Like I saw someone sleeping on a bench, so I called the police. So there are instances where that happened and the police officer wrote in the report, like, I saw the person, it was raining, I made no contact. So they left him alone, right? So
Okay.
I think we should recognize when stuff like that is handled well, like that. Like there was no danger, there was no reason to disturb that person. It was raining. Why would you make someone get up off a bench? I think they were sleeping under the pavilion by the farmer's market, right? So they were
Right.
seeking shelter. So I don't know if maybe like, I don't know, like little postcard that we could send over from the HRC or something like that, just to recognize. I'm thinking with my teacher brain, like like positive
All right, that's
reinforcement.
good.
Like
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking. Like when someone does something good, you recognize that more
Give a
than wait
positive
till someone,
attaboy. Mm-hmm.
yeah, instead of waiting until someone does something bad and then you're like, don't do that. Like encouraging discretion and humane enforcement is what I was thinking.
I think it's made a difference with bridging the divide comments and interaction that we've had with the sheriff and the police department, that they have
Mhm.
made a special effort to make sure that they're not harming individuals because they're in the space where they shouldn't be.
Right.
So
And just when
that's
I
good.
when I was going through, I did notice that they like they probably wouldn't have been making some of the decisions they did in August if they weren't
Mhm.
asked to by another city body, I guess.
Okay.
So I would say that. Like their hands are kind of pushed sometimes when otherwise they would probably not.
Well, there is an ordinance now, and we have to make sure, they have to make sure that that is abided by. But when the weather is really bad, snow is on the ground, people are not harming anyone, the police do have discretion. And I think that's one thing that the chief did say, that they're going to use that discretion when they can. And we thank them for doing that and making it a positive instead of a negative, because we have seen so many negatives in other cities and communities. So we just are so thankful for that. Okay. Is there another item you want to deal with now, or you want to wait until the next meeting, a regular
You can
meeting?
wait. We'll give people
Okay.
a break from me talking.
Oh, you're good. All right. Does anyone else have anything else under our areas of reporting? Those were the areas that we're reporting. I do want you to think about a date for us to do a town hall for the bridging the divide with police and law enforcement. So let's think about that and get something to me, suggestion, or I will bring something back to us by the next meeting. And so we can really have a discussion and finalize some things and then get started on doing some positive interaction. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. If there are no other reports to be given, then we're going to open it up for public comments. Is there anyone on that would like to make public comments at this time?
Can you just share the name of the person from Community Mental Health that's going to be at the meeting?
Her name is Catherine, and her last name, I will have to spell it for you because I don't want to kill it. And it starts with a S, Z, E, W, C, Z, U, W.
Thank you.
And she's the director. And I will send that to you after the meeting. I will forward that to you so you can have her input as well, how she's trying to set it up, okay? Any other public comments? Okay, hearing no comments from the public, I would like to open it up for commissioner comments or city commissioner comments.
I would just like to say, Commissioner Cavazos-Franck, could you email me that? I'd really like to see the way you've organized and everything. Thank you.
She can send it out to all of us. if You'd like to.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I think Michelle had wanted to speak on that last meeting, but we didn't get a chance to it. Was that something that I was able to share?
Yeah, all of that is, it's already been redacted and everything, so you can share it. It's a public document.
Yeah, I'll get that out to you, Andrea, and then you can forward it.
Okay, sure will. I will forward it. Okay, anyone else, commissioners? Well, hearing no comments, we have a few minutes left and we can take a break. And we'll be back at 7 o'clock for our regular meeting. Okay, I'll see you all then.
You still on your meeting?
I'm in between meetings.
Okay.
You done?
No. Sarah is helping me get on the Zoom, but I mean, Jesus in your what you call it?
Oh. Okay, we're ready to get started again. Well, I call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. with the Pledge of Allegiance. I have the flag behind me. We stand for the pledge and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, everyone. This is the regular meeting for the Human Relations Commission on February 23rd, 2021, 7 p.m. This is a public meeting and we're on Zoom tonight. And we're going to start with our roll call. Commissioner Patton. Let me say Mayor Heath is going to be absent from this meeting and she's an excused absence.
Commissioner Bernard,
Present.
Commissioner Ramos,
Present.
Commissioner Patton, present. Commissioner Frank,
Present.
Commissioner Boone. Okay, Commissioner Barron, Commissioner Carter,
Present.
Commissioner Harvet,
Present.
Commissioner Boone, we could not hear you.
Present. Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yes. All right, so we have an excused absence, the mayor and also Commissioner Barron. So our next business is approval of the pre-minutes for the January 26, 21 meeting. I need a motion and we will do a roll call.
Commissioner Ramos, I motion to approve.
Commissioner Harvard, I second.
The motion is set and ready for the question. All roll call.
Commissioner Bernard,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos,
Yes.
Commissioner Patton, yes. Commissioner Frank,
Yes.
Commissioner Boone,
Yes.
Commissioner Carter,
Yes.
Commissioner Harvet,
Yes.
Commissioner Barron,
Not present.
okay. All approved,
Unanimous vote.
yes.
Thank you. All right, next we will have the approval of the regular minutes for the meeting of January 26, 2021. And I need a motion and a vote. Roll call vote. Mission with necessary corrections.
I motion to approve. Commissioner Ramos.
Commissioner Harvard, I second.
Right, I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bernard,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos,
Yes.
Commissioner Patton, yes. Commissioner Frank,
Yes.
Commissioner Boone. Commissioner Boone.
Can you guys hear me? I don't know what's up with my microphone, but yes.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can hear you now.
Yep.
Okay.
Commissioner Carter.
Yes.
Commissioner Harvet.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
All right. Additions to the regular agenda. Are there any additions to the regular agenda tonight? Hearing none. So we have none included. Okay, changes to the agenda. Is there any changes to the agenda? And I have to say, yes, there is a change. The agenda will be changed for the pre-meeting. The changes are that we will not be voting on the minutes or anything else at the pre-meeting. We will only do roll call individually. We will not be doing any voting. So all the voting will be done in a regular meeting. So that's the change to the agenda. And I need a motion for the changes.
I motion to approve the changes.
I second Commissioner Ramos.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bernard.
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos.
Yes.
Commissioner Patton, yes. Commissioner Frank.
Yes.
Commissioner Boone.
Yes.
Commissioner Carter.
Yes.
Commissioner Harvet.
Yes.
Passes with a unanimous vote.
Thank you. The next is approval of regular meeting agenda, which will now include the change that we made with no voting for the pre-meeting. So I need a motion for that and a roll call vote.
I motion that we have no no voting for in the pre-meeting. Excuse me.
So this is just a motion for the regular meeting, which will include the no voting.
I motion that we have no voting in the pre-meeting or the voting in the pre-meeting.
And do you accept the regular agenda?
Correct. And I accept the regular agenda.
Okay, have that motion by Commissioner
Boone. I second.
Commissioner Boone, second. All right, we're ready for the question. The motion to be passed by roll call vote.
Commissioner Bernard.
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos.
Yes.
Commissioner Patton. Yes. Commissioner Frank.
Yes.
Commissioner Boone.
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Carter.
Yes.
Commissioner Harvet.
Yes.
Passes with unanimous vote.
All right, thank you. All right, our old business is current HRC updates. And the update that we have is what you are going to be reporting on tonight, Commissioner Ashley Frank.
So I have
Bridging the divide information.
Bridging the Divide, yes. So top of the case reports that I'll share with all of you, Chief Emmerich has been keeping me, I guess, up to date on interactions that he thinks would be important for the mental health town hall conversation. So I've been trying to forward those to you guys so you guys can maybe formulate questions, or and I did ask him if he wanted to participate, or if he would be able to and maybe speak during the public comment, or if they had questions for community mental health, just to kind of like, I'm sure they're in contact all the time, but at least like have a conversation there and just start a dialogue between our different sections of, I think that would be helpful. And I think that's something that the mayor's group was going to talk about having more of a cohesive community where all of the supports and all of the resources are talking to each other. So it's more of a holistic approach. So I've been sending those to you guys. So I wrote everything down into a little report here. So my first question was, who was making the calls in August to enforce before the ordinance had passed? Because that was something that stood out to me. That ordinance reports, after all of, I was reading through all of them, and they didn't really show up until August. And we all know that it wasn't actually approved until September. Was it September 21st? Was when that was approved officially. And there's even like a parks worker quoted on one of the reports saying it's going to get passed tomorrow, so we should take care of this now, kind of a thing, which is like absolutely not how that should have happened. So that raised some questions. But there were also some interactions specifically in August before the ordinance was actually passed, that the shelters were known to be closed. So the officers that were being asked to enforce were like they didn't have any options. They were being asked to enforce, one, an ordinance that didn't exist yet, and two, there was no, like, what are we supposed to do? Kind of a thing. Like, these people can't sleep here, but the shelter's closed because this was August when it closed down. It wasn't taking, like, none of the shelters were taking new clients at that time. So they were kind of stuck, which is unfair for the officers and for the population that they're interacting with at that time. So that will need a little more review, but you guys can look at that. I guess it was just my conclusion after looking at everything was that it was poorly timed, and we just have, we're cleaning up right now. We were assured that it wasn't an anti-homeless ordinance, but all enforcement and interactions were in response to our unhoused population. So there's no evidence that there was a safety issue, because I had pointed out there were only 3 violent interactions, and it had nothing to do with citizens outside of that population. So after reviewing all of it, I guess I would just like to publicly go on record that I'm glad that we're looking at it now. But I think that we should probably be more vigilant to what's going through the commission, so we can speak up before we're doing cleanup afterwards, like we are now. Because I think if we would have looked at these and brought our concerns beforehand, we wouldn't have to do the triage that we're doing now. And there are some things that we can do for triage now that I kind of talked about before: the discretion, compassionate enforcement, those kind of things. Providing positive feedback for when there are positive interactions, like the police officers and the fire department allowing them to stay warm, where they weren't allowed to go in the shelter, but they didn't have anywhere to go, so they allowed them to keep a fire to stay warm. Like, that was obviously, I'm sure there's all kinds of ordinances against that, but they made a compassionate decision. And I think officers that make those choices should be, I don't know, recognized or appreciated in some kind of way. That way those choices are enforced. You know what I mean? Like in school, if everyone's doing their work and someone's messing around, the teacher will go and give candy to the kids that are doing the right thing. And then that kid that's messing around will run straight back to their seat, like every time. So like, that's what I was thinking in that realm. But it's a really limited observation. So I guess I just would like more eyes and more input on it from everybody. So once you guys get the reports, kind of see if you're seeing the same things, the same patterns that I was seeing, and see if you would organize them in the same way. And we can compare notes and kind of come back to, I don't know, how we can modify, because I also have a public comment from someone that wasn't able to speak at the meeting tonight. So I don't know if that should wait till later or if I would read that now. I'm not sure. Oh, your mic's off, Andrea.
Subject, since you're the one doing it, so we can keep it focused on what we're talking about now. Was it around some of the same information, right?
Yep, it's the same thing.
Okay.
It's all related.
Okay.
Okay. So do I need to like give their name and address just like in public comment?
No, just give us the comment.
It should
Just
wait.
give us
until
the
public comment.
It should wait until
Say
public
that
comment,
again?
Gordon.
If it's a
Yeah.
public
Okay.
comment,
All
it
right.
should wait until public comment.
Yep, that's what I was thinking, since it was
Okay.
sent in from the public. So
That's my public comment for you.
thank you,
Okay.
Gordon, for your input.
We appreciate that. Okay, did you have something else that you wanted to share? You were talking earlier about one of the areas that you wanted us to know more about during this meeting.
Oh, it was the ordinance specific interactions. There were only 7, but they were all in August. So I kind of touched that on that in the beginning. I'm looking at my files here.
The
Yeah,
retail fraud, you said it was four incidents.
Yep,
And
there was only
the violence that you were going to talk about, the 3 violence was community interaction, right?
Yep, there was only 3 of those. And it was only within the community itself. It was never like against a person outside of the homeless community.
Well, we're keeping up with that as well.
Mhm. So I think I think I touched on most of it. That there were those 7 camping ordinance related, and they specifically either said assisting like another government entity or civil matter or ordinance enforcement, and those only showed up in August, which was before the ordinance was passed. So that was the only thing I needed to bring up there, but you guys will see that pattern when you look through them too. But that
So
was
was
all I
it-
have until
that's all?
public comment.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you so much for your report.
Mhm.
Is there any other reports that we'd like to have at this time from our commissioners? Well, hearing none, we'll go to our planning of the town hall meeting. I have received the draft of the agenda that the director from the community mental health is going to be we're starting at 6 o'clock. And she has a presentation she'd like to do and introductions of the people that are going to be participating and giving us information. She has outlined the areas of behavior specialists, services that they offer, overview of the CMH, the pathways of how to assist community work that they're doing. And there's two different areas. Some are for students and some are for adults. And she has that being presented. The trauma and other areas that we are going to be talking about. If there's a situation where she was explaining the hospital is no longer available here in Lenawee County because it was taken out, but they do have 2 new personnel at the hospital that is assisting them and working with them, and she'll bring that more information over about that. And so she's going to do an overview and a report of their information of what's happening in our community. Also, she wants to do a slide show or a video showing of some of the things that they're working on. And so if you have any questions or you have any concerns that you'd like her to address, would you please forward that to me and also to Commissioner Harvette. Commissioner Harvette has been speaking to different ones about this. And if she would like to report her findings with the prosecuting attorney again during this meeting, she can. Would you like to, Commissioner Harvette?
Sure, let me find it here. Yes, I talked to Bert Castleberry the first week of January and about mental health and the issues here in the city. And he said, you know, I deal with, well, actually he said, I see it every day in my courtroom and people dealing with these issues. And he said, quite frankly, you know, federally, we have failed people that suffer from mental health. And he said, so that's the first thing. And the second thing is, he said, you know, our states recently closed all the mental institutes, you know, not just here in Michigan, but all over. And so he said, we need to certainly talk to our state rep and senators and see if we can get some funding and get some grants for this. But he said, we do have one program here in Lenawee County. It's called Enhanced Treatment. And it is for people that are more or less on the edge being mentally ill, and they have a pretty good support system perhaps in their life, because they need to do 3 things that the court asks them to do. That's to follow the doctor's orders, to take their meds, and to have therapy. Now, that isn't available often for the majority of the people, he said, that come into my court. But there are some cases, and he said, you should know that it is offered here in Lenawee County. The pandemic certainly does not help the mental health issue. The isolation is very detrimental to people. And then he just addressed, you know, the area of ProMedica here having been built, and do they have anything to provide for the mentally ill? And I mentioned to him that we had just found out that ProMedica hired 2 psychiatrists that have offices there. But again, the question is, who knows that? You know, how do the people know that's even available, or the families? So that was about it. He did say that the police basically deal with it, as we were saying earlier, have been very compassionate and kind to people. He said mostly the police officers will sit with the mentally ill in the in the hospital. They will take them, he said, to help them. But he said, again, if you look at it from my perspective in the courtroom, who's doing the work of the police officer on the street? Because they're engaged in the hospital with the mentally ill. So it's that dichotomy. We don't have people. That's the issue here. So I'm sure we're going to address more this March 18th. I know we have some questions, you know, for the hospital, basically, I'll be honest. And also for Catherine, the director of mental health, if maybe even they could establish a spot there because people know them. And would they be able to have their place where they are now and also a place at the hospital? That who knows. But anyways, Bert Castleberry was quite informative, I thought, from his perspective in the courtroom. And he has great interest. He's very supportive of our March 18th town hall. So
Okay.
that's kind of a brief report.
Thank you. We appreciate that so much. Does anyone have any comments or questions for us at this time about the meeting, the town hall?
I have a question that maybe you could add real quick before I forget it.
I can hear you. Okay.
Is my
Go
mic
ahead.
working now? Okay.
Yes, it's working now.
So I had a question that maybe we could add, or if you had already had it answered, that's fine too. But I just wanted to get it out before I forget it.
Okay.
I know from working with like domestic violence and sexual assault survivors, there's often a like on-call advocate or at least there was in Ohio. I don't know if there is here. That the police could call to sit with the person when they're going to do their sexual assault kit at the hospital. So the officer didn't have to sit there with them. There was a special on-call advocate that would go and do that at all hours of the night. We had just a team, and it was like a phone tree that whoever was available would go to the hospital and sit with the person. So I don't know if that's something that is available already and it's just not known, if that's something
it is available for domestic violence.
Yeah, but
or sexual assault. That's a sexual assault. In combination with that, they do have someone at the domestic violence program. But when you have a police matter of a sexual assault and not domestic violence, then I don't know. I think that's a good question to ask.
I think what I'm more thinking of is like, is there something in place of like a social worker that could like do a tag out with the police officer and just sit with that person, like someone that is trained, like even someone like me that has just like a special education background as a para, like that just has that ability to just sit with someone and be a comfort. You don't even have to talk. Like there's security and stuff, unless there's like obviously security risk. But if they're just sitting with someone that's having a hard time and got picked up for, I don't know, disorderly.
I think she's going to be addressing that. The director's going to be addressing that because that question did come up in our conversation. So
I can
she will be
actually
addressing that and how the hospital will, would be able to have other people come in and sit with people.
I might have an answer for that if it's okay.
Yes.
There's through the county. I
speaking?
actually, this is Michelle. I'm sorry. I
Okay,
think it's
thank
actually
you.
through CMH. There is a victims. I forget exactly what they're called, like victims advocates group of volunteers. And they do go through training and they show up at things like car accidents, for example, or other traumas that people go through. The police bring them out and they do exactly what you're talking about, Ashley. They sit with people and they help them find resources, get them connected with the Red Cross, things like that.
Thank you for that. Yes, I think she's still going to bring more information as to how we can do and how we can get people more volunteers in. I don't know about the training, but she'll share that with us and we definitely will ask that question. So send that question to me, forward it in a question format. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle, for giving us that enlightenment. Is there anything else about the town hall meeting that we need to share? We just need to spread it out and explain to people that we would love to have them on. If you know anyone that is a social worker, or you know anyone that has someone that they're dealing with, because we don't often talk about the families or the friends that have to deal with mental challenged individuals that have mental illness or have challenges around mental wellness. Please ask them to come and be a part of the town hall meeting. So we're going to get with Michelle and make sure that we have that listed on our website for the city. Any other concerns or questions?
Commissioner Benard.
Okay, if not, we'll go to public comments. Now we can, you do need to list the person's name and address and give us their comments.
I think Commissioner Boone, you were trying to speak before we moved on?
Yes, my microphone just doesn't want to work. I want to know for the town hall meeting, do we know when the link's going to be available? Maybe I missed that part.
Say that again. You
Do
were
we know
breaking up.
when the link is going to be available for the town hall meeting?
It probably won't be until the day before, because we don't want people to, as Michelle, you can explain it to us, would you?
Right. So I usually don't put the actual link out. I don't even create it until the day before to avoid Zoom bombing, which actually happened at our Bridging the Divide forum. So what I can do is have a news post on the homepage of the website, and then you can direct people to that post. And the day prior to the meeting, the link will be inserted into that post. And it will also be on, if you go to the homepage of our website, there's a little alert box. It will be there as well. And I will send it out to all of you so you can pass it along to whoever you want to send it to.
Thank you. Did that answer your question? Okay. All right. Commissioner Frank?
So this question came to me through email, or more of a statement came through email. So I don't know if someone wants to keep track of that 5 minutes. And then if I get cut off, I'm still going to include this in the minutes so you guys can read it in full if it gets cut off. This is William Garcia, 704 Comstock Street. Dear City of Adrian Human Relations Commission, I'm writing in regards to section 6244 of our city code, henceforth referred to as the camping ban. As you may be aware, on the 8th of this month, the city of Boise, Idaho approved changes to their municipal ordinance against camping as a result of a $1.3 million settlement in the Marvin versus Boise in the Ninth Circuit Court that ruled that enforced camping bans pose an Eighth Amendment violation when sheltering space is unavailable. The changes to Boise's ordinance are as follows. Law enforcement is required to confirm that shelter space is available before issuing a citation for which the camping ban is impedus. If sheltering space is unavailable to someone because of their sex, sexual orientation, parental status, disability status, then the camping ban is not to be enforced. People who choose to not go to a shelter that is available to them can still be cited under the ordinance. The litigation against Boise's ordinance was conducted by the National Homelessness Law Center, the same organization that wrote an open letter against Adrian's camping ban. Adrian's ordinance is more broad in scope than Boise's. Through Martin versus Boise, federal jurisprudence has established that the enforcement of the camping ban is currently written violates the constitutional rights of the unhoused people, and the same legal advocacy organization that successfully changed the large, well-resourced municipality to the tune of 1.3 million settlement is watching our city's actions. It would be wise to heed this settlement as a warning of something that could easily happen to us, and voluntary and voluntarily comply with the decision of the city of Boise made to prevent further litigation. We do not have the resources to learn this lesson the hard way. To this end, I would strongly encourage the Human Relations Commission to encourage the City Commission to make the following amendments to the ordinance and changes to training operating procedures to ensure the protection of the rights of the unhoused people, protect our community safety, and prevent the potential for expensive litigation and settlements. So the changes would be require law enforcement to ensure that sheltering space is available and that the individual in question is not prohibited from accessing the shelter, and that the individual in question is given the option to be transported to the shelter space prior to issuing a citation. Providing training to law enforcement officials to ensure that the camping ban is not enforced in instances where the sheltering space is not available. The individual in question is prohibited from accessing the sheltering space. The individual is not sufficiently made aware the sheltering space exists, or the individual has not refused the shelter space. Provide transportation to the shelter space for individuals who lack transportation. Coordinate and discuss the logistics of returning personal property to the unhoused people prior to confiscation. In the statute, limit citation through the camping ban to instances where sheltering space is available. The individual is not prohibited from accessing the shelter space. The individual in question has transportation to the facility. The individual in question is made aware that the shelter space is available and the individual refuses to go to the sheltering space. In statute, prevents citation for the camping ban when a local, state, or federal public health agency has issued current guidance to not disperse unhoused communities due to the risk to public health. Thank you for your commitment to the justice and stewardship in our community. I am hopeful that the Human Relations Commission will play an integral role in creating a just, equitable solution to this issue. In solidarity, William Garcia.
Well, you did it within the 5 minutes. Thank you. Is there any other public comments? Hearing none, we'll go to commissioner comments. There are no commissioner comments. We go to announcements. No one have any announcements? I have one. Commissioner Boone, did you bring your award with you tonight from the MLK committee?
I did. Now we are. I'm with the Habitat. We are in the position of moving from our old location to our new location, and my award is at the Habitat office. I was preparing to hang it up on the wall, and I did not bring it home.
Okay, well,
so-
that's okay. We can do it next month with the mayor.
Yes.
She definitely wanted you to present that to
Okay,
us.
I will
Let us
bring
see
it home.
So,
will bring
okay,
it
so
home.
I'll send you a reminder. I'll have
Okay.
everybody send you a reminder. Don't forget your plaque. Again, we say congratulations to you on your award winning. And
Thank you.
remember, this is Black History Month, even though we don't have too many celebrations going on this year, but we still are celebrating watching the different movies and things on television. Christ Temple is still having an award presented to us for the Black History Month celebration going to be presented on Sunday. And it's for all the community. We just happen to be the ones that help to sponsor it. So just think about that. If you can reach out and touch somebody in a special way, please do so. Not just this month, but all the time. All right, are there any other announcements that we would like to have? If not, hearing none, then I open for a motion to dismiss, adjourn.
Commissioner Ramos, I motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Harvard, I second.
Ready for the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we have to do a roll call for this?
Yes, no, we don't have to do a roll call here. Just agree.
Aye.
Anyone else? Okay, all right. Well, thank you, everyone. Stay safe. We'll see you on the 18th, if not before. Okay? Bye-bye. Thank you, Michelle.